So here we go, the magical Franz Jevne State Park hike. Alright, we are at Franz Jevne State Park, located in Baudette, Minnesota, which is the upper northern part of the state. Technically it's in Birchdale, which is an unincorporated community in or near Baudette. We'll take a picture of this site real quick. So the plan today / tonight is to do a camp here, but before we start the camp, well, before I start my camp, I'm going to do a hike here at this state park. We're going to cover a lot of the trails here. This is the smallest state park in Minnesota as of the date of this footage shown below. Little fun fact here, this is site number 2, and this is where Stinkleberry Farmer stayed once. He did a video here. So shout out to him. Now I did a scout of this campground here towards the end of last year, 2025. I think it was in November. It's a really good scout. We show all of the sites very well. So if you're planning on camping at this state park, you should check out that scout video that I did. Very informative and kind of relaxing as well. This campground is kind of broken up into 3 sections. We just passed through the first section. Just to our right is the second section. And beyond this gate, we're heading towards the 3rd section, essentially, which is where the majority of the campsites are. And that's where my campsite is going to be tonight, which is all the way towards the end. We're driving alongside Rainy River to our right, and just past that is Canada. We're also alongside a hiking trail, or one of the hiking trails here, just to our left. And there should be a hiking trail to our right as well along the river. Now the hike I plan on doing here in just a little bit is going to be past this part of the park. And based on what I planned for, the hike we're going to be doing in just a little bit here is going to kind of be around this part of the park and on towards the end of the park. It's a big swath of the park we're going to be hiking through. Looks like it's going to be pretty decent weather. Now the camp tonight, I don't plan on documenting that or anything, so I won't have a video for that. But we will do this hike here. Just an FYI, I'm going to check this out tonight. But this vault toilet straight ahead has one of the most awesome toilet seats I've ever encountered. Where when you go to close it, it's so tight on the hinges that it comes down very slowly. So it just very gently hits the bowl. You don't even hear it. So the neighboring sites here wouldn't be irritated by that sound. And that is the only vault toilet in this, what I call the third section, or the third area of the campground back here. A lot of these sites we just passed they seem to be reserved for tonight. And as I checked just recently here, the two sites that are next to mine, this being one of them, and the other one closer towards the sun, isn't reserved yet. The 16 is one I got reserved. And this is one I picked based on my scout footage. And then one of the walk-in sites is down just to our right. We just passed the entry point for that trail, which is also the hiking club trail. That is not reserved yet as well either. And there's about a half hour to go before that might change. But 17 is straight ahead, and that I found that to be a pretty awesome site as well. Just FYI. Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked to be back here. I'm just gonna get my gear set up, and then we're gonna head on out. So, vámonos. Alright, so I'm a little early at this site, but it's okay. We're going to head out now on the hike, leaving site 16. Have my planned route here for the hike right here. So this is the park, the blue is where we are. And let's see here, 2.59 miles. Give you a better look. Our electronic version here. Alright, and today, so far, I have walked about 2.7 miles. So, we'll keep pace with it here. I did, you see the delay in time from when we were in the vehicle, so I did squeeze in a trip to the vault toilet. It's still looking pretty good. So we're just gonna head on out here on the hiking club trail, Rainy River Trail. When we get down there, we're going to take a right, and we're going to go around this way, cross over where we were on the road, and head around the whole park. That's the plan that I have. I have my pants cuffed over my boots, and I'm still wearing a thermal layer of merino wool for the colder time of the year. It's not going to warm up really until this week is over. Next week is over, then it should start getting to the point where I don't need to wear thermals anymore, except for maybe at night sometimes. Now this trail here, it actually takes you to one of the walk-in sites, which is over there. And I believe what I plan to hike, we're going to go all the way around, and then when we go all the way around, we're going to come back and come up in through this way. No, I don't think we're going to do that actually. So I think we're going to come out the other side actually. I like to be like to have a little bit of unknown baked into the planning. So, but yeah, the walking sites, one of them is right over down there. It looks like it'd be a sweet walking site, but based on my personal criteria, it's right on the trail, so I nicked it for my to camp at list. But it's still got an awesome view, Rainy River here. There's Canada down there, over there. So I'm trying this new boonie hat. It's a slightly smaller size, so it because I'm gonna have less layers over my head, like hoods and balaclavas, so they won't be over my head when it's so warm out. So I don't want the hat to be as loose. Try to prevent jiggling, any kind of clicking, clacking sounds. Try to mitigate them. All the carabiners I got around me and stuff. So this hike's going to start off walking right along Rainy River, and we're going to keep pace on the map here like we always do, the Avenza map. So we're going to go along here, and then we're going to cross over that part where we were on the road, and I'll show you that. There's some swan out here. It looks like I want to be quiet. Oh, they're pelicans. Oh wow. I'm going to try to identify them with this sea cap. Make it official. Yep. American white pelican. I like how they're closer to the American side. Wow, not bad. We're off to a really good start at this awesome magical state park. Franz Jevne, or Jevne, however you want to call it, State Park, in the unincorporated community of Birchdale, which is in and around Baudette, Minnesota. And ever since, well, when I scouted here, I actually remembered it was November 1st, 2025, first day of November, the day after Halloween. Right when I got here, I just fell in love with it immediately. There can be boat sounds out here. Pretty popular for fishing. Oh, almost walked right past it. This is a cool rock just off of this campsite right here. And I kind of call this out in my scout video of this campground. I just love this rock. Just real quick here, just quick look with the sun shining on it instead of on us. I'm thinking this hike's going to take about maybe up to 3 hours. And I do long form videos. Most people do not care for those, but that's okay. This is what I do. kind of as a hobby to keep me physically and mentally as stable as I can get. I did put a hoodie on, but I'm already getting warm, so I'm probably going to neck it here and put it in the pack here pretty soon. So here we got a verging happening. Not totally sure where the right route is. Well, there's a turnoff that faces the river that I did plan to go to, so we're going to stay in this direction here. And we're still tracking the right way. I encountered some ticks, American dog ticks, last weekend at St. Croix State Park, so I'm watching out for that. After I told some people about it, someone told me that they heard they were going to be pretty vicious this year. Pelicans out here. It's really cool. Right down there you can see the Salk Rapids. Right alongside some campsites over there. Cipher-Tu that we passed is right by there. They'll hear those all night, those rapids. Really awesome. Pelicans are pretty amazing. And it looks like this is the turnoff that I plan to go to here. Very interesting faces with the hair on their head. Very interesting. Okay, so let's see if we can track back on the trail here on the right path. I don't know if it'll allow us to connect up over down here or I need to meander a little. Rainy River. I'm going to try to touch it without falling in. There we go. Touch Rainy River. Check that off the bucket list. Wasn't really on it, but that's okay. Sometimes when you're working on a bucket list, you can pencil things in that you didn't plan before real quick, and then check them off and call it good. Yep. So I'm gonna backtrack in the way I came in. Like a northwestern wind. It's pretty strong. All right, and we'll head this way. Hearing some birds. Here we go. Let's click the path here. So things haven't really grown in yet, but they're getting ready to. That made this seeing through here a little easier. Yeah, some of these campsites here are a little squished in, but there are several jewels here in my opinion as far as campsites go at state parks. So I definitely have some options if I want to come back here and camp sometime. I got some sites that kind of fit my criteria that I've developed. This will be my 141st camp trip tonight. So over that period of time, since April Fool's Day 2022, it's kind of learning how what kind of a campsite I prefer. I feel like an itch on my back, and I'm paranoid that it might be a tick. Once you start seeing them, you start thinking you got them. And just say we're in Baudette, Minnesota, and I do have good cell signal here. 2 bars. That's pretty good. A little bit of a hike along the Rainy River here. Merlin bird ID. White-throated sparrow. The white-throated sparrow has one of my favorite bird sounds, if you call it that, or calls, the one we just heard. I really love that, and I started hearing them around my home actually, so I'm really happy about that. Okay, so this is where we crossed, where I said this part of the park and on we're gonna kind of take a look at. So we won't be hiking down on this, the first part of the park, and there isn't that much there. So we're probably going to be hiking and looking at maybe 70% of the park. And if you take a look at my scout video, you'll probably add another 20%. So overall there'll probably be like 10% of the park that I would not have shown you. It's all said and done. So based on my experience from the scout, we got to walk this road a little here, very little, and there's what looks like it used to be an old campsite, or it has the campsite format, but it's not a campsite right now. And they have this shed built here, and I think they just use it to store stuff. If I remember right though, there's a fire pit. Yep, there's a fire pit. And the trail resumes over here, just on the other side of this road. So not much of a road hike. But yeah, this has all the symptoms of a campsite. And this would be a pretty decent campsite too at this state park. The road, the lights from the road would come along here, this way, so they wouldn't really face into your sight if it was a campsite. Yeah, I don't know what the story is behind this. It is a little close to the trail here. It's painfully close to the trail, but yeah, it looks like there was even a tent pad where they had this shed structure built. There's a tent pad there. So I'm thinking there's some kind of a story behind this site here. You know, I'm getting a little hot, so before I walk away from this elusive site, I'm going to take an opportunity to use this stump, put my pack on, and take my hoodie off. wearing kind of a peculiar color for my tank. It's kind of a backup one that I had on stack mode. So I'm kind of waiting to wash all my other ones so I can do it in one load, you know. You can wash merino wool in the washing machine, or as my grandfather would say, the washer machine. Just make sure you use cold water. As long as it's merino wool, cold water, and Tide free and clear, or no, free and gentle. Tide free and gentle. I recommend you use that always. It doesn't leave that powerful fragrance odor that a lot of detergents leave. That's a pro tip. I actually bought another rucksack, and it was a little sticky on the inside. I got it used on eBay, so I actually washed that in the bathtub, and I'm pretty sure I used that Tide free and gentle. Just now realized I don't have my notepad on me, so I'm not sure. Hopefully it's in my car seat. Sometimes that happens. Had a lot on my mind at work, so I might have left it there. I usually don't do that, but my mind is pretty occupied today. I'm kind of just struggling mentally. So here we go. The magical Franz Jevne State Park hike. So we're gonna go around here. There's a rock outcrop. There's actually a trail here, a little baby trail that goes into private property a little. I didn't plan it, but it's only 0.2 miles and we're doing good time. So we're gonna check it out and just come backtrack real quick. Because I'm gonna kick myself if I don't do it. It's probably nothing super spectacular to see. I just want to see if there's anything over here that we can see from this trail over here. I don't know what this is over here, this rock outcrop, or if it's a quarry or what it is. Yeah, so far this hat's feeling pretty perfect. Gotta check the jiggle factor on the footage with the audio. Everything's already kind of really motionful as it is. There's not much image stabilizing action going on in the body cam. But that's okay. I like that the timestamp and the GPS, and the quality's okay. Sure, it could be ultra 700,000K, but I mean, I kind of like it. It gives it more of a vintage vibe, you know. It's not always good to be with the crowd. Getting a really good smell over here of a pine. Here the trail looks like we were on it and something happened. Okay, this tree fell over it. So we already got some devastation here. I'm aware of my breathing. I try to keep it down. But if you hear me breathing heavily, that's kind of a way to gauge the intensity level. Because it's hard to see the terrain and the topographical nature of it on a two-dimensional glowing screen. Had a really good pine tree smell over here. So technically we're on like private property, and you'll see this at some state parks. The thing is, as long as you stay on the trail, it's okay. I'm not sure how those are negotiated,
But when I first saw this from the vehicle, from the road when I was scouting, I thought that this might be like they're doing some kind of construction or gentrification or low-income housing or something. I was kind of terrified when I noticed it. This precious state park, like, just stay away from it. Dystopian nightmare city, please just leave it alone. But it looks like it's some kind of a quarry for landscaping materials. So this is this little chunk here. We got to see it. Now I will feel better. Alright, so I lied a little. We're kind of just rolling with the wind a little too. That's fun. So we went back a little here and we saw more of the park over here. You know, this little piece of land in here. Only stay on trail when leaving park boundary. That's what we did. And there, if we could have stayed on that river trail, and it continues on down there and it goes past those campsites we drove past on our way in. All the way up to where campsite 2 is, where I said Stinkleberry Farmer stayed. Kind of ends there where, and it's kind of weird, but I think that the part of the trail is actually behind that site, so you can walk through there. So that site's it can be awkward. Okay, so now we're going to backtrack a little and then pop on our regularly scheduled hike route. And I made outstanding time on my way up here. It was like almost a 5.5 hour drive, but it felt like it was maybe 3.5. Getting used to it, all the driving around, and kind of entering a flow state. Driving can be stressful with the other traffic, but usually I'm able to I often find myself enjoying driving for the most part. It's just the other vehicles and the other traffic that can really turn the punch bowl up for me. That wind's coming in heavy, but I got the pop filter I created. A little piece of sticky Velcro and some foam over that. So this, I don't want to go through here. I don't want to risk it. I'd rather go over the dirt and mud here. It's not wet. And the fire risk is high today. Now on the way in there was about 20 minutes of sprinkles rain. I'm really glad it cleared up because I wanted the day to look just like this. I emphasized as I was planning for this trip that the hike would look like this. So thankfully that manifested in the direction I was hoping it would. And it should stay that way. Temperature's in about the mid-50s Fahrenheit. I only speak in terms of Fahrenheit, but sometimes I'll just reiterate that for good measure. I still have my winter modality set up for my camp, so the tent and the sleep system are still winterized. So this cold weather layer here is what I put on my tent here. It's the winterized. Keeps it a lot warmer actually. So that's pretty much all I do on the tent for the winter modality is have this extra layer covers it. And then for the sleep system here, the Gore-Tex bivy, and then there's that winter sleeping bag here, the darker, the blacker one, and then the summer one here, the greener one, and then the bivy over it. So 2 sleeping bags, one is about double the thickness as the other, and then the bivy over that. So that's the winter modality as well. So the summer modality, when it's really hot, I'd probably just have this bivy here, and then this wool blanket just for moisture absorption. It is warm, but the moisture absorption is really needed in the summer. Otherwise, you're just wet. So yeah, that's that. The temperature is going to drop allegedly down to about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So we probably for like 2 hours or so in the early morning, water will start to freeze. And it should be pretty cool tomorrow. And then a week from today, things should be kind of hovering in the upper 50s, lower, well, the 50s as the lows, maybe upper 40s, and the 70s as the high. So that's a pretty much perfect weather for these activities. It'll stay that way for about 3 weeks, and then it'll start to get pretty hot. We're back where we headed off. We're gonna resume on. Now this planned hike will have a little bit of backtracking, not much. The reason for that is I wanted to go all the way around the rock outcrop, but I couldn't do that in a reasonable way without a little bit of backtracking. And I might not do it right because I didn't invest a lot of time in memorizing the route. I'm just kind of going off of instinct. Yeah, just periodically check for ticks on my legs. I found that having a solid color garment or pack, not camel or not a pattern at all, just a solid color, helps you see the shape of the insects. But if you have like camouflage or something like that that looks cool, it can camouflage the shapes of the insects that are on you. So it's a little irritating because camo looks really cool, but you should really only probably leverage it if you really need it. I still recommend you wear natural colors like the surrounding, not neons or pink or purple or anything like that. It just looks tacky in the environment. Though that would really help you see the insects. But it looks tacky, so just don't do it. The tank I'm wearing is actually a little brighter than I would like to wear. It's got kind of like for colors, like a chic, modern hiking look. It's like a chic, modern green instead of the olive drab. So that makes me feel a little cooler, I guess, for what that's worth. I'm not a big fan of how bright it is, though, to be honest. It reminds me that I had a favorite incense back in 2005. And it reminds me of the color of the packaging for that. And a body deodorant as well. They don't make it no more. So here we are, the smallest state park in Minnesota. We originated our hike here. We've already gone up, down here. Saw the pelicans. Went through here. Well, we went down here actually. Up here. Checked this out. Went back, and now we're here. So the plan now is to go this way around. Wait, actually right here. The rock outcrop. We're gonna go up here. Over here. And we're gonna pop out and check out the campground over here. Then we're going to slither back in, do a little backtrack there, and come around here, go down here, then backtrack here. Then we're going to go around, check this out, see what this is all about. And then when we get here, we're going to cut in here and check that out and backtrack. And we're going to go around it. Yes, we actually are going to walk past walk-in site 15. So we will see that in the very end. And we're going to come out where we started here and put a bow on it, which I promised myself I wouldn't say anymore. Or at least not that much. Let me put red in the shed and see where I'm oriented here on the map. So we definitely want to go this way. So we're going to go this way, check out the rock outcrop and the campground, and then come back. And then when we come back here, we're going to head this way. Alright, here we go. I did a scout at St. Croix State Park last Saturday, and last Friday, a week ago from this very moment, maybe it was ending at this moment, I did a scout of the backpack sites at J. Cook State Park, and all of those are amazing. So by the time you see this, that scout video should be out and ready to view. You should really check that out if you're interested in backpacking at J. Cook State Park, because they have some awesome sites waiting for you. And I'll show you exactly how to get there. And I'll show you where to park, and I'll show you how to get back. And I'll give you hundreds, possibly thousands of pictures streamed together in a video of each of the 4 sites. Another objective of this trip is, after my camp here tonight, tomorrow morning, we're going to head on over to Zipple Bay State Park, which is in Williams, Minnesota, just slightly northwest of Baudette. It's about 50 minutes from here, not too far. And we're going to do a scout of all of the reservable campsites there. So there's 4 campgrounds. They each have roughly 10 sites on average. And then 1 group camp. And there is going to be some reserved sites throughout. So we won't be able to go inside and look around all of them. But still, it's kind of OCD. You're still going to see the drive in there. You're going to see the sites. And I even plan to kind of drive around the other areas of the park, kind of take a look at it from the vehicle, see where you can access with the vehicle. And this park is, so I talked about St. Croix State Park last week. That's the largest state park in Minnesota. So coming from there to here, the smallest state park in Minnesota, that's how long it takes to get from where we were to here. If this same map was on at St. Croix State Park, for example, from here to here, that probably would have took possibly 30 minutes to 40 minutes, maybe something like that. A similar distance when you're looking at the map. So now we're gonna go this way, I believe, and this should head towards the campground. And this hike is probably gonna actually go a lot quicker than I was thinking, which is fine. I'll just enjoy the camp, set things up early. I have a lot of sunlight here. Let's make sure I'm tracking properly here. Yep, so there's a rock outcrop over in here. I'm not seeing it. I kind of thought that area that we saw earlier with like the quarry area was what the rock outcrop was going to look like. But it doesn't seem like it's a rock outcrop. Maybe we're still approaching it. There's something here. Oh yeah. Right here. A little bit of flies out here. There should be no mosquitoes out yet, but that should change in about 3 weeks, roughly. We are gonna exit here near some of the campsites, and I did notice some of them were populated already. So I'll be a little quiet as we approach. Yeah, rock outcrop. There it is. Don't know if we're going to get a better angle or better view. Okay, so it looks like a campsite over here. Yep, okay. So the trail entry point is up here. That's site 18 by that really bright red tent. We're gonna go to the entry point for the trail, then backtrack, and then head this way. And that's over here, that site is 17. That's the one right next to the one I'm camping at tonight, which is 16. So this might generate a lot of mosquito action in the weeks to follow today. I remember doing my scout. I just looked into here and I kind of wanted to do the hike. Nice little site in the middle here. It's kind of in the middle of everything though. This is a good site right here, 18. And then 17 over there. 16, 17, 18 are probably, in my opinion, the best sites in this part of the campground. And overall, probably overall. So site 1 is pretty good for like accessible reasons. More rock outcrop over here. I really like encountering rocks. Like, you know, big ones like this and the smaller little boulders. And they just kind of settle in real nice with the environment. Okay, now we're going to head around here and then back down here. Here's site 17. You can see how close it is from the trail here. It's really close. I didn't even notice the trail when I was scouting that site, how close it is. But it's really close. I don't think you're going to have a lot of hikers though here, really, for the most part. And this will grow in a little as well. Here also kind of opens up here where that the vehicle you would park right there. campsite's it's just back in here, so it's a pretty good distance from the trail here. There's a lot of brush here too. Yeah, it's not really close to the trail at all. There's really no easy way to get to the site I'm at tonight because of all this brush in here. Probably set up the trail cam tonight as well, and I never catch anything, but I usually have it facing my tent. Try to see if anything approaches it at night. The one time I thought I heard a person approaching my tent, I didn't have my trail cam because I was using it for something else. I was moving and I was using it as a method of surveillance for my new place when I wasn't there. See if there's any weird landlord activity when I wasn't there. That really bothers me because I'm pretty sure it was a person. Though one time I was at Itasca State Park and it was the morning and the sun was out and it was clear as day. It was day. And I swear I heard something outside my tent, like a deer, maybe a bear. And the trail cam didn't activate motion, and I couldn't believe it. I heard it plain as day. So we had a decision point here. Okay, so this one we can go down and connect where we're going to go later, and this will go down the route back to where we came from. When we get to around over there later, we'll come down here and then backtrack just to check this little piece out as well, because we got time and we're gonna probably plow through this hike for the most part without even trying. But this is the smallest state park in Minnesota. I'm pretty sure I have a hike video of Schoolcraft State Park as well, and that's a pretty small one also. It might be pretty close in size to this park. It's definitely bigger. But I like the hike on that one. Though it is pretty short. Yeah, this hike is going way quicker than I thought it would looking at the map. It's a good contrast from after hiking at the largest state park in Minnesota last week to the smallest state park in Minnesota. How much of a difference it is in distance when you're referencing the map. At St. Croix State Park, you walk for 20 minutes and you barely move a little bit on the map. Here you walk for 20 minutes and you're 20% done with the whole hike. So if you ever hike here, I recommend you just take your time, kind of like we're doing. I'm probably moving a little quicker actually than I should. Yeah, so tomorrow's Zipple Bay. And once I crossed the threshold of Zipple Bay, I would have been at every state park in Minnesota except one. And that's Lake Bronson, which I'm saving for last. And I always like to mention that they shut down Upper Sioux Agency State Park 1 year before I was planning to go there. So that will bother me for a while probably. So we're back here, and we're gonna now backtrack on this trail and then take a right this time and see what's down there. And we're headed towards the far reaches of this state park. I'm a little shocked we haven't encountered anybody yet. I think though people really go towards the river when they're here. I heard, well, it sounds like the fishing here can be pretty good. That the second part of the campground that I called out when we were driving through it, all three of those sites are reserved, and they're pretty close quarters, and they're right by like a hub where people park to go get out and like fish. I think you can check out the rapids from there. So that's going to be like a noisy area of the park. And tonight, all of them though, all the camps there, they probably have a group of people. They probably have at least 2 or 3 people with them. But when you're by yourself, usually you just stay quiet, you know, so if you're not having a discussion with someone, other sounds around you really stand out more. That's kind of contributes to why I'm a little sensitive with camp neighbors, because I always camp alone. Alright, now we're back here, and then we're going to head this way and then go down here. There's that dribble sound. I hear it all the time. I wonder if I've identified what it is yet in my editing. By the time I get to this video and edit it, if I've identified that yet. I think I caught some good sound footage of it at Jay Cook. I'm really quiet like I just was, and I turned the volume up all the way. See if I can analyze it. But it sounds like a dribbling ball, like a big one in another dimension or something. It's really weird. It might end up just being a beaver or something like that. Or maybe one of those rabbits that thumps their feet. I don't know. So yeah, we're headed down here, all the way down and around. Ooh, and there's another area here where it says stay on the trail when leaving park boundary. So we're going to leave the park boundary over here as well, like we did over here. That's kind of exciting. So tonight for dinner, I'm resorting to the creamy macaroni and cheese from Mountain House, a freeze-dried meal, and I got some special limited batch King's rolls, a certain flavor, some kind of coconut flavor, King's rolls. It's like a new thing they came out with. I might do a quick review of that, you know, while I'm having dinner. I'm not sure how well those will go with the creamy macaroni and cheese, but I'm sure it'll be alright. I'm a pretty big coconut fan. Real quick, it's a little later after the hike. The UBE coconut rolls. These things are absolutely amazing. It's a little smush from being in my ruck, but they got like this, like a blueberry color to them. They don't really have a blueberry taste to them. I'm not sure what the UBE stands for, but these might be my favorite ones. These are awesome. Then I got several varieties of candy. I brought a symphony candy bar for tomorrow after Zipple Bay, but I still got some tropical sunset Starburst unwrapped for my last trip that I haven't finished off. And I got some licorice as well. Some of the candy coated ones, the black licorice, like the Good and Plenty, but it's the Australian kind. I forget what they call that, the brand. And I also got some huckleberry licorice from that Australian brand. Haven't tried that flavor yet. The red hot cinnamon is a really good one. There's a grouse right there. Usually when you get too close, they fly away, and their wings are really, they make a bassy sound. So we'll walk past it slowly and quietly, and we'll see if we can hear that bassy sound when they fly off. If they fly off. Yep, a little bit of bass. My feet were on the leaves when it was happening. Turning the volume up might lift the volume on that more. Yeah, a little bit of moisture here, so I'm not too concerned with the well, of course I'm cognizant of it, but the high alert for the red flag. There's a lot of you can see a lot of moisture in the dirt, like in the mud. It's mud basically on some parts, so I'm not hyper concerned about anything happening. They were warning about that though. And last week I said I was at St. Croix State Park, and that's in Hinckley, Minnesota, in Pine County. And that they had a great fire there. I think it was 1918 that happened. So whenever I'm there, I'm like really aware of it. And luckily, when I camped there a few weeks ago, there was rain when I was driving up there, so there's no worries at all. But that park even has what they call fire breaks. They look like wide trails throughout the park that aren't intended for hiking. They call them fire breaks. And I guess it's to kind of retard the fire, if there's ever a giant fire that's passing through there, to retard it so it doesn't immediately catch the fuel of the other trees. I'm hearing frogs in the distance. It might be a raven also. Yep, common raven. You can hear the vehicle, the truck in the distance on the road. No, that's actually a boat. On Rainy River, it's a boat, a motor. You'll hear those unfortunately as well. But yeah, I was right, that was a common raven that we heard. There's a couple other ones in there too. Yeah, the boat engine died off as soon as I stopped recording. That's just life being cute, you know. That was one of the concerns I had about camping here, was the sound of the motors of the boats on Rainy River. Oh, I can't believe we're already here. So I'm gonna go a little slower here. So we're on our way to go around. Kind of the drum roll here, 0.7 mile. That's nothing. That's nothing for me. So I'm gonna just go slow, take my time. Had a Noka smoothie real quick before I headed out, and a few nuts, some water. The hike last weekend though, St. Croix State Park, that was like 13 miles over. That one really got me. I even got some sunburn on that one too. I had to just recover when I went home. I had to get in like a cool environment, cool down my apartment, and just kind of lay down and recover. I recovered very well. But yeah, I was at a point where I was actually almost getting a fever from the sunburn. and I was dehydrated also. I didn't bring enough water, but I still had enough, you know, to get through it without it being dangerous. But I probably pushed it more than I should have. I probably should have brought more water. Gonna check for ticks. Yeah, I launched a video called Ticks Are Out, and that's just kind of like a clip from the footage I got when I was at St. Croix State Park. And I came out of this trail, and there was 3 ticks on me, 3 American dog ticks. And I got a pretty good footage of it. Yeah, Ticks Are Out, Hinckley, Minnesota. It's only a couple minutes long. A lot of people bail on it after just 40 seconds. But if you just wait a little bit, I mean, you'll see pretty good footage of the tick. Pretty good quality footage. It's not the body cam, it's the iPhone. So people are just, they don't have any patience. They don't want to watch a video longer than 5 seconds. They're just so brainwashed by them shorts. Well, maybe that'll change, you know. I doubt it. Probably just get worse. But them ravens are pretty cool, man. I gotta slow down. I'm used to going at such a, from yesterday, or I mean last week, I had to kind of move at a decent pace the whole time because I had so far to cover. Just gonna put a bow on it here for a little bit on the beak. We're in that part where we left the park boundary now in this area here. So I guess this is like private property around us, essentially, or something like that. You're supposed to stay on the trail for the most part anyways, no matter where you go, for the most part. But they call it out on the map on this area. Might be like scientific and natural area stuff maybe they're doing, or just preserving resources maybe. Yeah, so really easy trails here for sure. Probably put them at like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. Alright, here we got a choice. I think this is that middle part we talked about. Oh, we already passed that. Wow. I don't know why there's there's 2 options here. It's really weird. I don't like this because it's there's only one way on the trail here, and this is where you're not supposed to leave. This is one of them curveballs where you don't know. I'm thinking maybe we stay this way and this is some other kind of road. So I'm gonna go with my instinct on that. Stay here. There's no sign or nothing. I don't see a fence or anything. I'll look for state park trail signs as well, and sometimes they have signs that says you are leaving state park property. You got to watch for those in these situations. I'm just pacing with the map though, my location, to make sure I'm going along the right trail here. So that, okay, it looks right. So that road, or whatever that is, that'd probably just take you off the map and you start veering off into this dark area here. I'm surprised they don't have a sign there. So that's where one instance of many where these maps really come in handy. If I didn't have the map and I was just guessing, just going off the top of my head, I would have assumed that I was still back here and this was that middle part up here. And even if I don't have cell signal, my location on these maps is usually always accurate. Sometimes if you have like low signal or no signal or SOS only, you really don't want to fiddle with other apps. You just keep that map app open with that map loaded and only have that. Because I found when you exit out of it and fiddle with like a camera or something else and then go back to it when there's no cell signal, it can make it a little more wonky when it's pinpointing your location. I'm not even sure if that matters. It's just kind of been my experience, so my recommendation along with it. If you're in a shady situation, just focus on that, keeping that map loaded, and just keep that the only app you're using if you can. Yep, alright. Just quiet the screen, but just leave it up, leave it open. So I stepped in that. It'd probably be deep enough to potentially get some moisture in my boots. I can't go in that deep of water with these. These are intended for hiking, like a far distance or a long while, but not really for treading through deep water, puddles for an extended period. You gotta try to avoid them. I do have backup boots in my vehicle, backup liners. I actually have my work boots also, and those work just as well for hiking. I've tested those as in hiking situations. I did that at Koochiching State Park, and I went really far with the composite toe work boots because of how I prep my boots with the insoles, the felt wool liners with the merino wool socks wrapped around them, and they're several sizes. The boots are several sizes bigger than my foot, so there's plenty of room to put all that padding and cushioning in there for moisture absorption and shock absorption. So with pretty much every piece of footwear I have, except for like my slippers at home, they're multifunctional. I can hike with them essentially. I guess for the most part they all are hiking boots. Alright, so we're at the very end of the park here. Very edge for this point. I guess the furthest point west. You gotta be a little careful with the gas in your vehicle when you're at this park. There was a gas station kind of near here, but it was one of them small town ones, and I went to it and I wasn't able to fill up. I can't remember why. It was around this time I did the Scout last year here, but I went to it and then I had to bail on it for some reason because I couldn't fill up there for some reason. I forgot what it was. So I ended up just going to one of the more major ones. But you might be looking at like a 20-mile ride from here to like one of the more major brand name type of gas station. Your more standard type gas station you'd see all over in the cities, maybe 20 miles. So you gotta be really aware of that when you come to this state park, more than you would with some other state parks. I'm kind of shocked though, my shoulders are already kind of feeling sore from the hike, from my pack. That's kind of, sometimes my shoulders and my traps will lie to me though. They'll say they're tired like really quickly, but I can go for 7 or 8 more hours. After about 6 hours though hiking with the pack, I'm getting pretty cooked at that point. Or Sorry, smoked. I like to say smoked instead of cooked. It's less cliche. Yeah, scout tomorrow at Zipple Bay. It should go pretty good. I'm pretty prepared for it. At least I think I am. All right. So the hiking club trail goes this way along Rainy River, and that connects up with the trail we started on. Before we do that, though, actually we're not back to where I thought we were. This middle point up here. I'm a little confused why this is pointing here, because this should just be an outlook based on this map. Unless there's a trail that goes along the river here that isn't on this map. That's strange, because this trail we're supposed to continue on this way. So this is another weird curveball here. It doesn't make sense based on what the map is showing. So I don't understand this. Well, we got plenty of time, so. There's a bench here. Or yeah, picnic table. Oh, there's the password, so don't tell nobody. I'm gonna take a picture of it for me, but I'm not gonna show you because this is an interesting one. So it looks like you can harvest sturgeon off of this river, and it's not the password, by the way. But yeah, you can harvest sturgeon. I think that's what people fish. It's kind of what they catch here, sturgeon. Okay, yeah, so this is just one of the outpoints. Huh. So I'm thinking maybe the hiking club trail is that we were on it the whole time. Once we enter this bigger loop here. Oh, nope, this is just where it ends. So the hiking club trail ends here, and then you just backtrack along the trail we're about to go down. This kind of reminds me of that outlook at Koochiching State Park. I've been getting reminded of that a lot lately. I keep forgetting what that's called. But you're like looking at the Mississippi River. Sounds like there's some more rapids down over here, actually. So there's more rapids on this part of the park. The only thing about this park that's kind of sad is it's too small. You know, the exploring can only last so long, but this park is awesome. I really love this park. It's kind of nice to have like a smaller park though. You can kind of absorb a lot of it rather quickly. Some parks it's not really possible to do anything to get everything absorbed there quickly. I really like this spot. This would be a perfect backpack site. Yeah, they don't have any backpack sites here at this state park, and I understand why. If they had just one backpack site, it'd probably be really popular, I think. That's probably my favorite hiking club password though. And I really don't collect favorites on them, but that one really, because you see it and you know how to say it, but you don't know how to say it once you learn more about it. That's really interesting. So this park is my favorite password for the hiking club trail. And I don't care about that. Just kind of a fun little thing though. That one resonated with me. I saw one the other day where you had a J Cook. It was like a full sentence of characters. It was insane. It was one of the more kind of like a Native American. I think it was Ojibwe or something. And some of those are just every letter in the alphabet and ×2, and it barely even fit on the sign. It was insane. I like this cool little bridge here. Bridges are cool, man. You gotta like the bridges. Kind of reminds me of Mary Poppins when she appeared at the doorstep. And she had the hat, but she had like the roses on it. You can see the silhouette of the roses. If you ever saw that movie. We got some stream action going down here. Wow. Just trying to live in the moment. I don't do that enough. Too serious. So I thought we were going to encounter a lot of people on this trail. I really like this part of the trail though. This might be my favorite part so far. I'm kind of shocked that more people aren't in the campground yet. When we get back, there will be, because it's after 4. But I kind of started from the metro area essentially. It's about a 5.5-hour trip, and I took some time off of work so I could travel up here, and really just really for mental health, really. I mean, I'm losing my mind a little. I just get so sick of people, you know. I just wish people made more choices that I aligned myself with. Everyone's just in a totally different direction always, and going about things in a totally different way. It doesn't really add diversity or intelligence to the dialogue. It just kind of adds complexity and annoyance. It's really frustrating for me. I'll try to overcome it. I don't like how you gotta, if you're gonna live on your own off the land or whatever, you gotta kind of kill animals and eat them. I don't like that. It might sound like a sissy thing to say, but I don't like that. Something about it just doesn't seem right. I heard a rumor that like people in the Israel army or whatever, or Israel military, they make them like kill a kitten, so they overcome that weakness or whatever. And I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that, you know. It's just kind of, maybe it's too happy a place to talk about that, probably. Yeah, I really like this trail though right here. It's really nice. And the sound of the rapids down there. And Canada's just right there. It's kind of crazy. It's not every day I'm looking at Canada. Hopefully they don't have any wildfires this year to suffocate us with. It's been kind of a theme every year for a while. Kind of shocked that the Americans beat Canada at hockey. That's kind of pathetic. That would explain though why they can't manage their forest fires, because you figure out of the whole planet Canadians would be able to manage their forest fires, but their hockey team's losing. That's kind of weird. Wow, that's pretty awesome right there. You can really see those rapids down there. If this was summer, this would be filled in, it'd be hard to see. It's one of the benefits of being here right now, along with the nice weather, the temperate climate. We're gonna go all the way down here. That merino wool I'm wearing is pretty easy to rip on thorns, so I gotta watch out. My hoodie got a little ripped a few weeks ago at one of the St. Croix scouts that I did at one of the backpack sites there. It's pretty amazing here. Pretty amazing. Rainy river. Get a little higher quality video footage. Sturgeon. We're just off the F intersection, or the F map. F as in Foxtrot. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite places I've been out of all the state parks. That's a pretty tall list though. The wind is blowing from the sun, so it's blowing from the west, I do declare, when it's blowing. Oh good, it's not a tick. Those are the most dangerous thing out here is the ticks. They're the hardest to detect, the sneakiest, and the most dangerous. At least in Minnesota, that's my opinion. This guy right here, I'm not sure what this guy is. That tree kind of stands out over there. Canada. As far as borders go, this is a pretty spectacular border. Not sure how easy it would be to swim across, but I don't see caravans of people wading through it. That probably doesn't matter. Pretty awesome. Rainy River. One of the places you kind of just hesitate to leave. If you're stuck anywhere and you didn't have the supplies you needed, you get sick of it. But yeah, it's pretty good place right here. Definitely wish they had some backpack sites on this part of the park a little bit. One thing about my site is that it's not right on Rainy River, and that walk-in site we're going to walk past here in a little bit is. And I don't think that site got reserved, so there shouldn't be anybody there. Either way, it doesn't matter because it's right on the trail, so we have the right to walk pretty much right through it no matter what, which is one of the main reasons why I kind of took that site off of my list of places to camp at. That and the tent pad is actually pretty small. I got a relatively small tent and I couldn't fit my tent on it, I don't think. It's a 2-person tent though. I could do my 1-person tent easy, but I have a 2-person tent because I like to bring my gear inside my tent with me. I'm not willing to break from that, especially with ticks, where you wake up and then find a raccoon gnawed a hole in your rucksack. I think the insects would be a bigger deal though. Well, a hole in the rucksack would be pretty infuriating. I guess they're equally annoying in different ways, those outcomes. Ticks would be more dangerous. Or even like a snake. And you don't, the insects or the snake doesn't come out until you're in your vehicle driving home or you're at home. That kind of happened to me with ticks once. I didn't know there was ticks on me until I got home, and that was like a 3-hour drive. That was pretty crazy. None of them got me though. That's because of the clothing that I wear. The layering, the type of clothing I wear protected me. Long pants, tall socks, 2 layers of socks, tall. They gotta put in a lot of effort to get to me, usually. They usually come, the ticks come from the ground up. This is an awesome park. It's kind of nice to just take my time because it's not such a far hike. There's some hikes though where I gotta really keep moving if I want to achieve the goal of the plan. This is kind of a rare one where polishing it off pretty quick. I actually want to go substantially slower. Kind of neat. I'm still sweating though on my back. Gotta try to remember how many miles we walked when this is done. I already forgot how many I said it should be. Oh, 2.59. I'm gonna adjust the strap, my sternum strap on my pack. Sometimes I call things like that out just to let myself know, like when I'm watching it later, what I was doing. Sometimes I'll get really irritated with myself, like I do with other people. I'll get really irritated, like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? You know? Hopefully I'll evolve out of that mindset one day. I think this stuff is helping me with that. Help me be more self-aware and figure out solutions for evolving mentally. This is pretty deep water here. I'd have an uncomfortable boot slash foot scenario for a while if I stepped into that. Oh yeah, there's actually, I noticed when I got here, there's a train in the distance, and I think it's coming from Canada. But there's a train, I think, on the other side of the river, if I'm hearing that properly. So you're gonna hear train sounds and probably boat engine sounds. I'll see tonight how frequent those train horns are. But they're not close enough where they actually hurt your ears like they would at Camden State Park. I love that state park. But that train is really close to that campground. I think it's the upper campground. Oh wow, and then there's like a horse slash group camp over there as well by that train. Oh, that is painfully loud, and it's pretty often too. It's like once every hour or two. And at least you know it's coming because there's like a massive rumble of the earth, like an earthquake's about to happen. But I love that state park. They got a hike there to the prairie pools. I would really recommend that. But you're gonna want to make sure you got cover from the sun if it's gonna be a sunny day. I do have a hike video of that, but it's really windy and very shaky. It's kind of hard to stomach, but I show you it so you can at least see it. You can mute it or something, or you don't mind the sound, you can at least see it. The prairie pools are they're not, it's not like looking at the Grand Canyon, but they're still, in my opinion, there's something really special about them. Prairie pools. That's in southwestern Minnesota. It's near Marshall, Minnesota, actually. Very close to Marshall. Kind of by Sleepy Eye, kind of near New Ulm, kind of. That's where they make my favorite root beer, 1919 root beer. Okay, so we're at this part here now. So what we're gonna do is go down here, take a look, see what this is all about, and then come right back here. So right in here. And I'm Checking the map to make sure I'm oriented in my mind properly when I say that. Oh, right down the middle here. Yep, looks good. The sun's supposed to set just after 8:30 p.m. tonight. You know, I think I'm gonna try to get up tomorrow at a 7 or so. Let me look at my notes. 8:30 a.m. Leave Franz Jevne State Park. 8:30. So I definitely want to get up at 7 a.m. I'll do 7:01. I'll probably snooze once or twice. I figure get up, break everything down, heat up some water to reheat my coffee, and then head on over to Zipple Bay, which is about 50 minutes from here, and do a scout of those camp spots there. I'm gonna look at everything that you can reserve there for camping. We got a campground called Ladies Slipper, a campground called Birch, one called Ridge, G1, which is the group, and then Anglers. Gotta make sure Ladies Slipper is plural, ladies, not just lady slipper, ladies. I'll make sure I say it right. I'm gonna do a pre-scout drive-through first in reverse order, and the scout will be in the chronological order of the numbering system as we go through it on foot. And then in the end, I'm gonna finish it up with another drive through different areas. And I think Lake of the Woods. Lake of the Woods. Let me check my other map here, Zipple Bay. Yeah, we're gonna see Zipple Bay. We're gonna drive up to where Zipple Bay is itself, and that's right off of Lake of the Woods as well. So we're gonna drive up to the parking area. I'm actually gonna park where we can probably see Lake of the Woods. So that'll be awesome. I don't think I've seen that in my scouts last year at all. So that'll be, I'm pretty sure I saw it as a child, but I'm not 100%. So if it's not the first time I've seen it in my life, it would have been over 30 years since I last was there to see it from some vantage point somewhere in the state. Well, we're back. See if this feels familiar at all. Try to see if I can remember what I was talking about when I was here. I was getting stoked to see this. Yeah. Yep, so we're gonna head back and we'll analyze the map when we get over there. Now, this park is curated or taken care of by Big Bog State Recreation Area. So I got a hike video of that place, the Big Bog. I also have a scout of their campground there, which I wouldn't recommend at all. And that was on Halloween 2025 that I captured that footage. And I camped there that night as well, Site 31. Which is the only site that's really on its own, away from other camp neighbors. The thing is, there's no one else there that night, and Site 31 is not a very scenic site, but it's right alongside a road. I believe it's 72, and you hear the vehicles, and it's definitely not one of my favorite. There's 4 state recreation areas in Minnesota right now, and I've scouted all their campgrounds, and I have footage of all of them, so you can see that if you're interested in checking out their sites there. I would not recommend any of them, any of those campgrounds at all. That's just me though. I don't have an RV. I can't hide in a big camper and drown out sound. I'm a tent camper, so that's why I feel that way. So keep that in mind when I critique things. So those, it might be for you, so you can check out those sites and see if you can pick one out that fits your needs. So we're back here. So now the plan is to go up here, and then we're actually going to cover this little piece like I said earlier, then go back up here, then go past site, walk in site 15 and polish it off. Just finish off where we started. This is probably the easiest, most relaxed hike at a state park I've ever done. I think a lot of that is because of the challenging ones that I have done up to this point. This park is so far away from me though. It's kind of last towards the end of my list. This one is a jewel. I'm kind of hoping Zipple Bay is a jewel. I already seen what the sign looks like from Snickleberry Farmer, one of his videos. I can't wait to get a picture of that sign. I haven't stepped foot in a new state park for the first time since I was at Old Mill State Park. I think that was last November, I think, maybe October. Around that time frame. It was around a similar time frame that I was here, actually, within a month or so. It's been about half a year though since I've been at a brand new state park that I've never been at before. And there's only one left after that, and I plan to get to that the last weekend of this month, May 2026. I'm gonna scout it, and then so after tomorrow with Zipple Bay, I'm gonna pick out a site and book it right away in June, if it's possible. And I'm gonna do the same thing with Lake Bronson. I'm gonna try to book something before June is over, if it's possible. Because I really want to go with the site that I pick, and it might be reserved, so I might have to push it out to another time. But I kind of want to polish off this goal here for sure, you know, well before they close their campgrounds down for the year. So probably before August is over. But I'll analyze that pretty soon here. Just kind of just enjoying the trail while I talk about stuff. Oftentimes by the time I'm editing the footage, so when I'm editing this, I would have hopefully achieved what I've just talked about, and that's been happening a lot lately with what I've been editing. It'll take me a couple months before I get caught up with my editing, because I don't want to rush it. I want to do it. I want to be in the mood to do it. I don't want to feel like I don't want to do it and then push through it. Just go through the motions. It's less creative that way. So I'm usually like 3 or 4 months behind. I'm editing footage that I collected several months prior, essentially. And I hear myself saying stuff like I just did. And recently I've been like, wow, I did that, and I just smile and I just feel really proud, you know. I feel rewarding. So it's kind of like, this is like a diary too, and I'm going back and reading my diary when I'm editing. I didn't really expect that as one of the artifacts of doing this. Hopefully I'll hear that wind all night. Hopefully no trees will fall on me. If I can hear that wind all night and I don't have any people in the campground that are annoying, there's a high chance that I won't. But there's always a possibility. Someone will roll in late. I found that places like Frontenac State Park and Myrie Big Island State Park, it seems like they have people that come in after the park office closes and they do like a stealth camp at one of the campsites. They don't reserve it, they just come in and camp and then they leave. I've encountered evidence that that's happening, possibly, and I hate that. I just can't stand that. But here I think there's a low possibility of that happening, though I don't know much about the surrounding community here. It seems relatively agricultural, I guess. So everyone who lives around here probably has a reasonable amount of their own land. They're not trying to get away from a city, but you never know. Oftentimes people have neighbors they want to get away from, no matter where they live. There's a really cool trail here. I'm gonna check the cam. Looking good. That's going good. I hear some kind of an airplane just now over there. I'm not noticing any smoke in the air either, so there's no wildfires in Canada yet as of this date. I got a sneaking suspicion that's going to change though. Just always seems to be the case every year. Sometimes I get worried that my do-rag is going to look like a hyper oversized yarmulke. I'm not Jewish or anything or hating or anything, I'm just saying it's just kind of a cute little fun fact that's in the back of my mind that I worry about. There's this one political commentator where, like, every time I see him, like, I don't watch him all the time, but like whenever I happen to see him somewhere on the screen, it's like his yarmulke, it gains like an inch in circumference every time. Like, it gets bigger and bigger. It's really weird. Maybe his head's shrinking, I don't know. But I thought they only come in like one main size. I don't know how they work though. I seen this one guy, he had a really tacky looking yarmulke. It was really tacky. If you're gonna wear a yarmulke, just get like a straight color or something. You know what would be kind of dope? If there's like a bushcrafting, like a camo yarmulke. There might be a market for that. I doubt it. Perfect weather here, perfect breeze. Awesome amount of shade, just awesome. It's gonna get pretty chilly tonight, and I am super ready for it, by the way. So it'd have to get pretty cold out, like extraordinarily, unnaturally cold for me to get uncomfortable tonight based on the gear I have. So here we go, the two options. We're just gonna check this out here and then backtrack once we get to the part we were at earlier, just to check it out. Now, I noticed that I left a comment on one of Steve Wallace's videos, and I always wondered why I never got any likes or like nothing. So then I checked it out on another browser where I wasn't logged into my account, and it doesn't appear, and that means that they muted me. So somewhere along the line, Steve or someone on his team muted me. So I just unliked the video, unsubscribed, and then clicked unrecommend channel, because, you know, why support people that want to silence you? I have no idea what I did. So I just, in all every time I seen a video in all capitals, I'd write yes with like 100 exclamations after it, just super happy to see it. I guess that's rude. Guess that's rude. So, oh well. There's another guy that muted me that I supported for years. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And I didn't even say nothing risque or anything. I wasn't being rude or not, just a genuine, just a heartfelt inquiry in relation to his commentary, and just wanted to know what he thought about something, and he just, ooh, he didn't like that. Alright, we're back here. This looks familiar. So we will backtrack like I just said and head on over back on that hiking club trail. And during this hike it would appear to have covered the majority of the hiking club trail. Not in one piece, but we kind of stumbled upon it here and there. We started on it. In the campground we started, but to get to that trail, to start on it, well, I guess you could start anywhere really, but that's kind of like seems like a practical starting point for a lot of people would be to park over in that parking area in the campground there and go for a walk. I guess you could go along the river as well, so yeah, I guess there's other options. If you're on one of the other campsites further down, like campsite number 2 for example, you know, we got enough time. I'm thinking we just go for it. We just maybe backtrack a little bit what we did earlier, just for the sake of seeing what's down. And I do show some of it in my scout video, what's behind site number 2. So yeah, down here, and this, I'm really looking forward to this area here, seeing that, and that's coming up now. And then we'll check out that walking site 15, see what it looks like this time of year. It'd be kind of cool if someone was there, because you can see how awkward it is to walk by them. You can see what that site is like and how awkward it is. But I'm thinking to go down here again and just kind of push through it quicker, and then when we get to here where we turned off, we just keep going straight. And then check all this out over here as well. Oh, this looks like it doesn't quite go to 2, but it cuts past here, kind of in between 2. And then we just backtrack. And there's time for that, so we'll see how we feel when we get there. Hear that motor, or that boat. Yeah, I can see him too. I can hear them talking. So when they're boating, they get the loud motor, and they want to talk to each other, they're gonna yell as if they're in a warehouse and they have earplugs. So you're gonna hear the people talking loudly as well if they choose to talk to each other when they're driving by with the loud motor. It's a good call out. When you're in the campground camping, I don't think there's gonna be any nighttime activity though. Like once the sun sets, but like in the morning, probably within like an hour of the sun rising, that'll probably be occurring. If you want to sleep in or something in your tent. Of course, if you have an RV, just disregard everything I say. This isn't really that much of an RV campground though, based on what I've seen. Definitely not a big one. Maybe a truck camper on the back of your truck. If you got one of those Pig 150 pickup trucks, or Pig 250 or Pig 350s. The only good truck though is a Toyota, by the way. You know, I know it seems un-American. You still need something reliable. So if I were to get a truck, it'd be a Toyota, if I could afford one. If we get in a used one, kind of rolling the dice. Some kind of piece of wood going down there or something. So we might start encountering more people here, so we enter this proximity. I like how they put that password way out though, almost as far as they could. It's really cool. Good move. Yeah, this reminds me of Folsom Island at Interstate State Park over there. You see a lot of islands like these kind of along the river here, and all rivers really. So these similar kind of islands, like a teardrop type shape. They probably have a scientific name for those formations. I'm getting a little chilly, actually. I think it's windier and more open here by the river, though. That's a good look of it right there. Wow, that's the walking campsite right there. So even from here, from this trail, from this direction, look how open that is. You're just right in it, you know. It's just insane. And when I was looking at the map before I scouted, I was like, this is probably going to be the winter for me. And then that just goes to show why I do the scouts, at least for myself. This is just insane. So this is the only other risk that I potentially had for camp neighbors. Even though it's kind of far away from where I am, I'm more up there. But if it's like a loud bunch, like 2 or 3 people playing music or something stupid. But yeah, this tent pad here is insanely small. You know, I could set my tent up on that though. But I'd have to stake out the rainfly outside of it, which I could do, I've done before. Let's see if I can find my campsite from here. It's right on the trail though. I mean, look at this. I just can't believe they did this. I'm just looking at the map here and see where I am. Okay, so my site is, well, it's trying to pinpoint my location here. It's not accurate right now. It's working on it. Well, maybe this icon just isn't that accurate right here. But I'm looking in the direction where my site is, so it's right up in here. So it's maybe 1/10 of a mile, if that, right up over this bluff, this hill. Yeah, it's still a very quaint site. And again, the tent pad, or also the tent pad is far from the picnic table, which I'm not a fan of that. I'd actually want to put my tent right here, and I probably would do that if I camped here, but you risk getting yelled at by the warden, I would assume, for camp sprawl. And then I'm not a fan of these being by a trail. I'm pretty sure they have these so you can hang your food, being right by the trail. I'm not a fan of that at all. I've seen bear lockers right along the trail at backpack sites, but the backpack site is pushed in further away, so you have all your stuff or your food in a bear locker right by the main trail, but you'd be in your site way farther down. I'm hearing some kind of activity over here. Oh, right down there, it's a little chipmunk. So yeah, there's a lot of wood though. Another thing with this site is there's no vault toilet near here. And the vault toilet you come right out of the trail where we entered over there. It's a little bit of a walk even from there, so you'd have to go all the way around here, and we'll see it in a second, and then go up a hill, and then down there past like 5 campsites. So you go past like 5 groups of people, probably. Really inconvenient. So if I was here, I just headed, you know, do the number 1, I'd probably just go over here. You know, it's probably, shouldn't confess that, but I probably would, you know, to be honest. All that being said, you have probably the best view of Rainy River out of every single campsite here. So that's the give and take. You probably wouldn't have a lot of hikers, but this is the hiking club trail. So there's going to be people that are going to want to get that precious password, and they're gonna hike along here. It's probably not going to be a lot. But if you're sitting here trying to enjoy the river and you just got people walking in front of you, there's garden sites at Rice Lake State Park in Owatonna, Minnesota, that are of a similar format. They have some of the best views of Rice Lake out of all the, really the only views of Rice Lake out of all the campsites there. But you have a trail right here, so you have people constant, and that's a heavily trafficked trail, so you got constant bobbleheads. Just doing some campsite analysis here, that's all. Yeah, this is it. Maybe, you never know. You never know. Depending on the way things happen in life, it might make sense for me personally one day. I just don't like people within several feet of my tent when I'm in it. And that's exactly how far they will be. People just walking on the trail. Yeah, this is it. We're back. It's so surreal being back here. This is one of like the top 5 parks that are farthest away from me, where I currently reside. As of this date. Oh, here's one of the markers here. I seen this on somebody's video. U.S. United States. 250 years. Overdue for an empire collapse. We'll see what happens. A lot of groups really working hard to make that a reality, though. That's for sure. All right, so we're almost connecting up. We're at that point where we were earlier. Let's check the time here. 5:43. We're doing good. Yep, this is where we came out. So we're gonna do it. I got the time. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna go down there, just to backtrack a little, check out the rest of this trail, and come back, and then we would have covered basically every part of the trails here. Cool how we saw those pelican earlier. That's not something I see often. I saw a porcupine at St. Croix State Park about a month ago, probably 3 weeks. I was there twice this year. I went back after 2 weeks being there prior to finish up a scout of another backpack site there. I felt bad because I couldn't do them both in one day, because it would have been a 25-mile round hike. But then I had a camp trip at Jay Cook, which traveled past there 2 weeks later, so I was able to work it in after that trip. Here's a really cool rock, different time of day. And this campsite is still not populated. I'm not hearing any sounds up there. So maybe they're just still, it was reserved, I'm pretty sure. And some of these sites have these cool gazebos as well. The one I have doesn't, but there is a lot of tree cover. That being said, if it rained, I wouldn't have the luxury of one of those. That's something I never see. Those like gazebo structures over the picnic tables at campsites. So we're going to continue on this trail this time. We still haven't got to that part we were earlier yet, but we're about to really quick. And we're going to go past the picnic area, that secondary campsite area, and then further to the first campsite area, where there's several sites in each of them. The campground's kind of divided into 3 areas, really, in my opinion. Area 2, they got 3 sites in there, and those are my least favorite because there's just so much potential for high traffic and people noise. I like less people noise because there's a higher potential, like wildlife approaching you. I like it when wildlife enters my camp. There was one time with the raccoons it got crazy, but that was like probably almost over 100 camp trips ago at this point. So I'm far more prepared if a raccoon decides to get bold with me, or several of them decide to. I got some options that wouldn't be cruel, but would probably be mutually beneficial in the end. Pretty sure that's an airplane sound. Yeah, I see something flying in the air. Might be a chopper. Yeah, that might be a chopper. So I think we just went past that point we veered off earlier, which is right over here. Or nope, it's right here. We went over here. Yep. So we're gonna go down here, check it out, come back, and then backtrack this way and go up where we started and wrap it up. And there's probably going to be, for sure, people in these areas over here. Kind of shocked we haven't encountered anyone over on this part of the park. But I think a lot of people come here mainly for like the fishing and the boating. I've seen a lot of boats being hauled on the roads on the way up here. And I notice these boats, they'll have like one big engine in the middle and like another engine that's about a quarter of the size right next to it. And I don't know much about boating, so I'm not sure why though, what that secondary motor is all about. If you know what that is, let me know. I'd appreciate it. Oftentimes though, especially at this point in a video, I'm usually just talking to myself. But I kind of like talking to myself. You know, it's okay. It's not so bad. song sparrows and white-throated sparrows. Really like the sound the white-throated sparrow make. I think that harmony, the main one we were hearing there, was the song sparrow. I really like that one also. I don't think I've heard that one really. I think that's a pontoon. Oh. The dream of the 90s is still alive at Franz Jevne State Park. I really like this trail too. It goes right along the river here. This is a more traffic trail, I could tell. I wonder if all the fisher days, if they're getting they're getting sick of the other boats scaring away the fish. Alright, so this looks like a trailer park setup here. It's kind of chintzy to have to look at here. A little chintzy. I don't know what that is, but here's the secondary campground area, part of the campground over here, the 3 sites in the middle by the picnic area. Really high traffic. Yeah, you can almost take a look here. Pretty high traffic here. Oh, there's a spot back here. I didn't know about that. Oh my god, I didn't know about that. Wow. I didn't know you could put a tent up there. So that sheds light on the on this side. At least you can go back there, I think. Unless they just did that. That's kind of cool. That opportunity when I was looking at that site. I was so shocked by how close and open it was to the trail. But the trail's actually down here though. Kind of cool steps. It's kind of like a picnic area here. Looks like there's a tent pad here, but this isn't a site right here. So this may have used to have been a site. I found some cordage over at that site over there when I was here. Maybe they let you just like pitch like some kind of a tent or a structure while you're here picnicking. Maybe that's what that's for. So I thought the trail went along here. I thought that was the trail up there. But it's just an access point to put a tent back there. Wow, that is so cool. The trail is actually down here. I'm really glad I came over here now to learn that. Hopefully people that saw that scout of that site over there check this out as well. Here in Sauk Rapids. This kind of reminds me of Schoolcraft State Park a little right here. The way it opens up and then goes back to the trail. So this is like the secondary part of the campground here with the 3 sites. Picnic area. It's a nice area. It might even be a good like a group camp scenario if you just bogart it with 3 groups. This is that one site in the middle though, right next to that white truck. Just think if someone showed up there, you know. You'd just be squished. And this goes to the parking over here, I do declare. All toilet over there. Don't really hear those rapids. So now we're little bit here we're going to be honing in. We're going to be on the kind of the edge of the first part of the campground, I would call it. Now site 1 is kind of on its own at the very beginning, so I guess technically that would be the first part. This would be the second. We just saw the third, and the end where I'm at is the fourth, I guess, but I'm just kind of lumping that in as the first part because it's just the one site, you know. And I don't know if you pronounce it Franz Jevne or Franz Jevne. Instinctually I pronounced it Jevne, but the lady at Big Bog State Recreation Area pronounced it Jevne. And I said, have you ever heard anyone pronounce it Jevne? And she said never. Like it was stupid to do so. And this was after I already had a lot of footage and I pronounced it Jevne, so it was kind of bittersweet for me to, well, just bitter really. Another marker here. Here's another awesome walking site right there. And the parking is down here. So we're behind this walking site right here. And then this will take us to 2 right over here. You can see this trail's painfully close to these sites. And this side would actually, so this is actually part of this site technically on the map now that I analyze it more. So the trail kind of ends right here. Then you go back through this trail over here, the park, for the walk-in site. That's right here. I show that on my scout video, so I'm not going to go down there. But this is it, yeah. This is this other area. Now that walking site there is pretty awesome as well, but see, the thing with that is you're going to hear the rapids. And then site 2 is going to hear the rapids also. So that's where, see, that's the thing. That's totally awesome. You're probably not going to have a lot of traffic here now that I've seen the hikes. On the reservation site, there is actually another walk-in site labeled in here that's always blocked off, that you cannot reserve it. It's not even reservable. So I think there used to be another walk-in site here and they nicked it at some point, but they didn't update the map. Maybe they're gonna one day bring it back or something. That's why they're just kind of leaving it. You know, if that other walk-in site wasn't, if people weren't in it right now, I might actually right now look around and try to find that other one, but it's just, it'd be weird. It's not worth it. But yeah, it's just another FYI. So there's only one walk-in site over here, even though it shows 2. One of them you can't reserve. And then the other walk-in site we saw just a little bit ago along Rainy River, that one doesn't have these awesome rapids though. There's always a kind of like a give and take. You gotta hear that all night though. You gotta hope that your camp neighbor, because you might have a camp neighbor, they're not turd in the punch bowl with sounds. Most people don't camp alone, it would appear, in these types of campgrounds. So you're probably going to hear some sounds. Some people are real quiet though when they show up. Some people, they'll show up with like a family though, and the kids will scream, and or it'll be like college kids or younger adults that'll be like smoking and just have their piggish discussion for hours on end. I did that too. Okay, and then the trail stays this way. Now Well, we still didn't really encounter anybody on the trail at all. Just along the sides here. This is a little bit of a docking station here, actually. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to digging into some dinner. I'll probably start boiling the water right away. I put like my rucksack and my gear on the picnic table, and then I start boiling water with the alcohol stove. And while that's boiling, I'll set up the tent. And I'll try to get the tent set up before the water starts boiling. But it's hard for me to set up the tent quickly. I'm still kind of a putz. It takes me about 12-15 minutes to set it up, which is pathetic. But oh well. And depending on the time of year, the water will start boiling quicker than that. That's no problem. I just pour it in the start dehydrating the food, or hydrating it. I mean, hydrating the dehydration. And that takes a while for it to sink in, of course, so then I'll just keep setting up the tent and setting up my sleep system in the tent. My tent is a Light Fighter 2 with the cold weather kit installed. And my sleep system is like a modular sleep system. Sometimes referred to as like the military sleep system. Where you got the green patrol bag, sleeping bag with the intermediate colder weather thicker black sleeping bag inside of it, and then you put both of those inside of a Gore-Tex bivvy, and that bad boy, if it's over 30 degrees, there's no worries. Fahrenheit, there's no worries. Once it gets under that, then I gotta rely more heavily on more layers. I'm still gonna have some layers of clothing, thermals, for tonight, because it's going to drop to freezing point essentially. Once that sun sets, we're probably going to lose like 2 degrees an hour until like 5 a.m. and around 4 or 5 is when it's going to be in the freezing zone a.m. tomorrow morning. So, and I'll get up around 7:15ish, break everything down. I should break camp probably not later than 8:30. I don't have breakfast. I just warm up. I boil water and pour it in my coffee, what's left of my coffee, in my thermos, and then it heats that up. The coffee that I have is very, very strong, so I just drink a little bit of it on the way here. Just a sip maybe every hour, a couple small sips an hour, and then that depletes it. And then tomorrow morning it depletes it enough so that tomorrow morning I can fill it up with enough hot water, boiling water, that it'll warm up the rest of what's in there. And at that point it'll just be regular strength coffee. So it's kind of a helps me save time, and it helps me ensure I'm drinking the right amount of coffee, consuming caffeine at a fair rate, not overdoing it. And it also helps with hydration, because the more water I add in, the less coffee. That helps with the hydration aspect to offset the diuretic functionality of the coffee, which makes you sweat and urinate more, which depletes you of the hydration. So it all comes together, so I don't have to go the extra effort of bringing coffee and making it. If I did though, and I do sometimes, if I do a 2-night camp, I will bring ground coffee, and I'll make what's called cowboy coffee in my kettle. I don't like to cook anything in my kettle that isn't just boiling water, but I will make cowboy coffee in it on trips that are more than 1 day, which are very rare for me. I like to just do one and done. That might change in the future once I get more efficient and more skilled. But I might want a different way of life at that point. You know, I want to do something different. You never know. But so far I'm headed in that direction. This year I should make some progress, getting better at lightening my load in my rucksack so I can do more backpack sites. And speaking of which, then 1 week from today I do have a backpack site camp scheduled at Savannah Portage State Park. Site K is in Kilo. I haven't seen that yet or scouted it. It's right on Lake Shumway on the other side of the main campground. So I plan to do a scout of it before I actually inhabit it. I'm going to show you the parking options and the hike in and the hike out. And we're going to show the site, of course. And then I'm going to do a camp there. And then 1 week later, I'm going to do another backpack site at a camp at a site that I did scout called Cow, like the animal cow, or a calf, or cow. Site Cow at Maplewood State Park. That's in Pelican Rapids, Minnesota, ironically. We saw a pelican today. A few of them. I think it was 4 of them, actually. Wow, I don't know what that was, but it was a huge type of bird. It's probably an eagle. That thing was huge. Its wingspan was probably further than my arms would reach. Still not there. So when I have to use the vault toilet tonight, I usually use it before I hunker down, so I don't have to use it in the middle of the night. I'm gonna have to walk past this site, and it's just over there. But all those sites in here are allegedly reserved. I'm really glad none of the sites around me reserved, but it may have changed when I show up there. This has been a really awesome hike here at this really awesome state park. This is the first place where I got a black-capped chickadee to perch on my finger on the tent pad at campsite number 1. It's just, I just love this park. It's got a place in my heart forever. Just love it. It's one of the few parks I just really fell in love with it right away. You know, I guess that was true for a lot. This one I kind of had when I scouted here the night before. I had a kind of a depressing Halloween camp night, and things got a little dark. Actually, my carry sack for my tent I actually got it burned in my alcohol stove, and I just burned the whole thing in the fire because it was destroyed. And actually finally picked up a new one to replace that. And this is its maiden voyage. That's kind of weird how the one that I got destroyed at kind of near here, I'm back here now and I got a new one already, and well, it took half a year to get a new one. I got a different color from the rest of it to help me differentiate it when I'm figuring out which sack to stuff the tent in from the poles, etc. Alright, so we're back here. We're gonna make our way back up here, and this is where you'd have to go to get to the vault toilet if you were at that walk-in site over there, which again has the best view of Rainy River of all the sites, and it is the closest as well of all the sites to Rainy River. Now, before I scouted here, I actually thought that this part of this trail you wouldn't be going down, you'd be going up. I remember that. I think I remember that right. Yeah, I thought I was going to be going up instead of down, but this is an uphill here. You're going down coming in, so if you're bringing your gear, it's better that way. When you're leaving though, you're going up. There's a lot of roots. as well. So if it's night and you're gonna make the hike to use the vault toilet up here, you gotta watch out for tripping on them roots. You probably have a headlamp though, right? And don't say you just use your phone, because that's weak. That's lame. So my site's just right over here. Oh, they should have a dedicated headlamp though, seriously. All right, so this has been a hike at Franz Jevne State Park, located in Birchdale, which is an unincorporated community within Baudette, Minnesota. Something like that. It's the smallest state park in Minnesota as of this date. And in my opinion, it's one of the most magical state parks. I don't see anybody here yet. So yeah, wish me a good camp. There's no one over there. That was my biggest risk, was that site being occupied. 17. And then 14 also. I think it was 14. And then 15, the walking is down there, so that was kind of less of a risk. I appreciate your time. And then after this, I'll probably have the scout of Zipple Bay, all the camp spots at Zipple Bay State Park. So thanks for taking a look. Take care. Really like that rock over here. It's pretty cool. Oh, the nuts are still here. So, no little buddies visited. We'll see what happens later. So, 6.3 miles minus 2.5. So, I don't know, about 3.5 miles. Alright, you're a pretty awesome sight. Pretty awesome sight. Oh, it's good to see you again. Hope all the village idiots treat you well over the years. Got to. Hope he treats you well. Take care, buddy. Age well.